What's up, everyone? Welcome to another Mini Crew review. We're Mini Film Crew with Genre Productions, and today we're going to be giving our review of Batman.
I got fat.
You want to explain what this is?
This is our original review of Batman '89 from our original channel called Mini Film Crew in association with Genre Productions.
Which is now.
We scrapped all that. We became officially Cinema 3D.
We were cinematics for a little bit.
We were cinematics for a little bit. If you go back, you might catch that. But now we are Cinema 3D. And today we are going to be giving our discussion of a film that turns 35 years old. That's old enough to rent a boat.
Have 3 kids.
Have 3 kids, sure.
Ride a boat.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So you can rent a boat.
Oh, rent.
Rent.
Oh, I thought you meant ride.
No.
It's like,
I don't know the age limit to ride a boat.
I still don't understand.
The point is that Batman '89 turns 35 years this year.
That's wild.
And the point is that we went to go see a show last night, which was about Batman. And it was Batman '89 in concert. And should that one still be rolling?
No.
I didn't think so.
I'm going to leave that in, though. Look at it. Okay.
All right. So last night we attended a live concert of Batman '89, which was phenomenal.
Absolutely.
They took the score entirely out of the picture, and we just watched and listened to a live score of the film. And man, that was a incredible experience.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was literally it allowed you to see it in a different perspective. And it's just an event. It's like it's a celebration.
Celebration.
Because you go watch the film in your house and have amazing sound and picture and all that stuff, but it's another thing to see it at a prestigious theater.
Yep.
And have an actual orchestra, perform the every part of the track.
I understand what you're saying.
You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Man, hitting the ground running with this one. But you know what I mean? It's definitely a celebration, and it's very special to witness this.
Yeah.
And also too, like you're amongst tons of fans.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I felt it yesterday.
Last night showed how many people truly love this film.
Yeah.
Because that was a packed
Absolutely.
house, and
It was.
So much laughter.
so much laughter. Yeah, no, apparently people love Knox.
Yeah, apparently.
Haven't seen this movie. I don't know why you're watching this video if you haven't seen this movie, but you gotta watch it before you watch this. But yeah, they were going crazy for that guy.
Yeah.
They were. And Nicholson.
Buy me lunch?
And Nicholson as well. No, they were dying. What's the one where he's like, what's he bring in? Everyone just lost it in the theater. I was like, that's funny. Yeah.
The part where he was like, I'm glad he's dead. And then he said it 3 times, and all 3 times I heard this dude behind me crack up.
Oh, yeah, dude. That dude was hilarious.
But honestly, though, that just shows that people are laughing, but it was one of those laughs that almost feels like it's a nostalgia laugh.
Yes.
And it made people feel good because it's like, oh, I love that line. I love this. Like, so many moments got just insane cheers.
Yes,
It was incredible. I mean, that's the fun of going to an event like this, is just it's a moment for fans and this community to get together to appreciate this art that they love. I mean,
what I love is what got me really into it was the first introduction to Batman.
oh yeah,
And when he takes the gun and is like, I'm Batman, everybody lost
went
it.
crazy.
And I was like, oh, we're in for a good time.
Yeah.
Even before that, the weird part, during the opening credits, everyone went crazy. I think we just followed in suit, but they went crazy for the production design dude.
Yeah, they did.
Like his name came up or her, and they were just like, woo! And I was like, okay.
Yeah, because Anton First is what, that you keep in mind, like nothing, his production design was unlike anything anyone has done or were doing currently in the 80s.
Yep.
Freaking phenomenal. Art Deco, beautiful. So of course, he's such a legendary figure. Rest in peace. You know, committed suicide only a couple years after the production, but his work reigns true, and it's phenomenal. So that's why people were like clapping. It's like, oh my gosh, this dude really, like, yeah, you have Elfman and you have Burton and Keaton and
Elfman got an applause as
Nicholson,
well, which was
but
nice.
yeah, exactly. So it's
Yeah.
like, you know, all the key players. It's not just the director and the actors. It's everybody else that was involved with it.
And we'll talk about that more with 89 later, but talk about a huge contribution to the film,
Yes.
what he accomplished there.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, no, right off the bat though, with the title Batman, everyone lost it. It was really a live experience. The feel of the theater that we saw it in, with the orchestra right below the screen, that kind of blue light there with it,
Yes.
and just the kind of gothic feel of the film was incredible.
It was. It was.
It felt like you were in almost
A
like
monarch.
yeah. So I was gonna say like an opera house type
Yes.
thing that
Point.
would be in Gotham. Like,
That's a good point.
That's how it felt too, especially after walking out and being in a city.
bro, and to be honest, there were some weird characters there,
There were.
so it fits Gotham.
It's Gotham.
Yeah.
That dude with the full-on Batman suit,
That was a
that
legendary.
was awesome. He had
Full-on
it was
Batman
a full-on suit, but it had that logo like just all over the suit.
Oh,
Missed that one. I saw a guy in the full-on purple Joker suit.
Oh well.
Talked to him for a minute.
Of course you did. That's awesome. Yo, where'd you get that suit? Oh,
Coming
man.
a large. Yeah, no, a lot of people turned out for that. Good popcorn as well. Had a nice intermission.
Yes,
That's,
that was surprising.
20 minutes.
I really enjoyed that. I mean, bring back intermissions, honestly.
Bring back intermissions.
Especially since films are just getting longer.
Why are people opposed to it? I don't understand this.
I don't know.
Intermissions or longer
Well,
films?
No,
I'll tell you,
intermissions.
I don't even know if it's just regular people. It's also it could also be Hollywood in general as well, trying
Yeah.
to get in, get out type of thing. Instead of but that's how it was. A film was an event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you had intermissions too, because you can just, you know, go to the bathroom, talk a little bit, decompose, digest. What decompose? Digest.
It's like, man, how long is this intermission?
I'm freaking winning today, boys.
That was great. Oh,
That's what I like.
I really was looking forward to decompose after.
I was looking forward to dying in intermissions.
Well, I guess I'll die now.
Oh man.
No, but
Yeah.
The feeling.
Why do you do this to us?
I feel this bad. I feel this bad. I'm not even doing it intentionally.
it was no, but look at it this way: we went to go see Batman '89, which is how long's that runtime, John? About an hour,
No, it's
2
about
hours?
2 hours.
2
2
hours.
hours? Okay.
Yeah.
Either way, that's an average runtime for a film like that. Obviously, yes, it was already a big event because you had the orchestra and you had a lot more presentation going on. But with the intermission, it made it feel a lot more like a night out. You don't just sit down, movie goes, like, and you have to do something to change up theaters now when you can have such a better experience at your house than a movie theater.
Yeah.
Then what's the point of going if you're not going to add something to it? And I think turning the theater into an event space,
That would get people to go.
people
for
going.
sure. And what's great is that it was a packed crowd.
it was.
Yeah.
It really
So
was.
that which is awesome. But yeah, I think, but you know, it's a business.
Yeah.
You know, in order to really feel that, you'd have to go to the Straz or the Tampa Bay Theater.
Tampa Theater, yeah.
With Tampa Theater, which we still have to go to, by the way.
No,
gotta
we do.
try
We
it.
have
Bro,
to
I
do
need
a
to-
movie
But
palace.
stuff like that, the Chinese theater when you go over there.
Yeah.
But as far as the Chinese theater is more of like, you know, prestigious. 'Cause-
Well, yeah.
But
big
but the Tampa theater is like something like massive and it's like it's almost like a museum. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. I think they theater. I think theaters need to turn it into being an event. But then again, like when you have tons, but that's back in the day of you had one theater,
Yeah.
or maybe two theaters in one building, and
Yeah.
then you make it an event. You notice how they have like 10
Yeah.
theaters in one building. So like, when they bust out tons of films, and would you really want to have intermissions for all that
No,
stuff?
no.
I don't know. It just sucks, but like, it felt good, man.
was
Especially
amazing.
when we're not from that era of that time
Yeah.
when intermissions were a thing. If I really enjoyed it, and that's coming from somebody who's not from that. So like, I really enjoy it. I think it has a lot of weight to everything, even if it's a film that we've seen Batman '89
One of the
countless times.
Watching movies I've seen.
I think, yeah, for me too, man. So like, but if this felt good, it had a lot of weight to what we just saw.
It did.
So good.
And the popcorn was, I was
Popcorn shocked me a little bit.
gourmet
Good?
popcorn. It's
Yeah, well, because it said sweet popcorn, so I was like, oh, this is gonna be like that plastic bag type.
Mhm.
But then it actually had a good amount of saltiness,
it was very good.
a lot of buttery, and then mixed with the
It was also kettle.
sweet alky I had, it was good. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
spent way too much money there, but it was
yeah,
worth it.
it was worth it because it was an event.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there you go.
Exactly.
Um,
So the topic of today,
Is what?
well, is going right into what we saw last night with all these people going in and enjoying this film and it having this massive following. But some, can still be, it's a film from 1980s. So the question has to be asked, does it hold up? Or is it just a nostalgia trip? So that is going to be the main discussion of the evening. Now,
Tune in next week.
next time we will talk about this.
Yep.
One element that I wanted to mention before we give our own personal thoughts on it was last night, obviously, we went to go see it, and two people saw it for the first time while we had seen it multiple times. So that is my girlfriend and her little brother. She loved the Dark Knight trilogy, my girlfriend. We watched them. They became some of her favorite movies, very quotable. We love Joker as well. And a big Tim Burton fan. But I wasn't sure how this one was going to be going into it because she had never seen it before. And obviously I grew up with it, so I just will always love it. But we walked out extremely impressed by the film. But mainly, like, we had a long talk about Nicholson's performance. And she's just like, I get why he's loved. And she's like, Heath Ledger's always talked about, but he was pulling stuff from even him. And I'm like, yeah, he was.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, just, Nicholson doesn't get as much praise as maybe he used to for that role.
Yeah.
But man, is he the Joker.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I just loved that the feedback from the film was positive for two people who just saw it for the first time.
I know, that's
And
crazy.
great way to see it for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It gave it more weight than just watching it on the TV screen in your living room.
Oh, yeah.
For them, for those two, for sure.
Absolutely.
I was sitting there for a good majority of the time, and Janae just told me this earlier today that we both forgot where we were and forgot that there was an orchestra playing the music
Yeah.
because it just felt like we were watching, like, there was a good portion of time where I was looking at the screen and didn't look down at all, didn't look anywhere, and it fit so well.
Yep.
It was only when the music stopped that I was like, oh yeah, we're here. Like,
No, I got hooked into the film same way.
Yeah.
Like I
same.
forgot about the orchestra sometimes. I made it a point to actually pay attention to the orchestra at moments when I felt myself.
Yeah.
While yes, that's a great sign of a film that it just draws you in that much. I do know that I've seen this film so many times, and I was like, I want to see
Same.
what they're doing and actually look at what actually is composed into this track
yeah,
that they're making, and that was some pretty cool stuff. Really watching the cellos; those were like
Yeah.
probably the most prevalent
Yeah.
used in the entire film. But that was just fun to watch the cues and watch them go. And where was it? Couldn't find the drums though. That was where were
Yeah.
I think they were behind the screen.
they? They were.
And there
was
wasn't
something.
And then there weren't actual people doing
I don't know.
chorus or not
No.
the chorus, but
If
like
it wasn't, I think it could have been a keyboard,
yeah,
and they
thought
just
it
made it
was.
sound freaking so real because it sounded like there was an actual choir in the background.
choir, yeah.
The piano player had a pretty.
I didn't even see the piano player.
There's
the
actually
left.
more piano in the movie soundtrack more than we think. Actually, it's just more amplified. It's a little bit more amplified because that's what we're mainly hearing. But there's a lot more. It's actually quite nice. But let's
Discuss the film.
yeah, exactly. Let's kind of get into it. Let's just have this free form. Like,
Yeah.
does this hold up?
Does this hold up? That is the question that we do not have an answer to as of yet. So, first element of discussion, John.
Well, let's
how do we-
let's get into it. Let's get into it, because I don't want to just have it where it's like, all right, you say your piece, I say my piece, you say your piece.
Yeah.
Let's kind of talk. Let's kind of go through the kind of like the list.
The list of
There's some
different.
sort of a criteria almost.
Yeah,
I feel like that.
I feel like
What would be the first main element to even
okay.
discuss with this picture?
Got it.
Yeah, no, that's
The overall look,
Oh, the overall look. That is a great
production
place to
design,
start.
production
Visuals.
design, the visuals, overall look from
What-
the DP and from Tim Burton, the works.
And you're talking something that can make or break a film for some people.
Absolutely.
And that's, like,
You're looking straight at me, bro.
well, all right. So I'm someone who doesn't get too hung up on that element of a film, but it can be a huge draw to make a film feel dated for people
Right.
and not enjoy it.
Right.
And we had this hard time with Justin for about 10 years now
As he's
Wow.
his fingers.
of,
Damn.
What it-
of that
okay.
being a huge opinion of the film.
What it's come down to now
Yeah.
is a film like 89 or a film like Star Wars or Empire, something like that, versus I can't think of another film that fits what I'm trying to describe, but there's a difference in it's old and dated because I can tell, but you can tell that it was done well versus it's old and dated and it's just
It was
straight
done
up
poor.
garbage.
How about Tron, for example?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard bad things about it.
Well, yeah, but
Something like that, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to see it, but
But the story's
it's
engaging
probably like
enough.
a lot of those cliche action movies that have terrible green screen work or rear projection or just bad CGI done too quick, too soon, versus something like 89 where it has meticulous planned out shots,
Yep.
artwork, like literally painted,
Yeah.
great cinematography, great lighting, great production design that all comes together.
The thing with it is that, like, you got to keep in mind too, if you really look at the 1980s and what the films were like, especially in 89, nothing like that was being done.
No.
The way it was looking, the whole it feeling like the Art Deco. It's modern times, but it's also not modern times. It's just like this. It's not Trump. It's not 1930s, but it's got 1930s elements. Very comic book feeling as far as comic accurate of how people were dressed up in those comics, of like the those awesome gangsters, pinstripe suits, and really run down gothic cathedral like look and darkness. Nothing was like very expressionistic.
Yeah.
Nothing like that was being done at the time. So I think another thing why, hopefully, with people that haven't seen this movie, same with the two people that we went to go see it with last night, we've seen modern films, films you grow up with, or even current films. And I'll be honest, like, and no disrespect to the filmmakers and DPs and whatnot, but I feel like we've got into this look of desaturation for desaturation's sake, or just kind of bland green screen work, way too much CGI, especially now with after pandemic and virtual production, and using virtual production instead of going on locations, yes, it could be a lot of what 89 is sets, but it's an entire city that they made, which is awesome, as opposed to virtual production with a LED wall, and you're just trying to do this and that, and to me it doesn't look right. Both that and
I literally thought you just said a name, LED wall.
no LED.
That's my cousin.
but like that's the thing, is that people have been accustomed to modern films, which I really do feel like, since with like a lot of CGI, a lot of Marvel films, a lot of overall comic book movies as well, but overall action films and stuff like that, the uncanny value for me is reigns true to a lot of these films nowadays. Not a lot of depth, not a lot of this, not all of that. So when people go back and see this movie, they're like, holy crap, it's so so different.
Yeah.
Compared to films that are being shot nowadays, that I think hopefully it kind of opens up people's eyes and it's like, wow, this looks incredible.
Yeah.
And it does look incredible.
It looks
that
incredible.
production design holds up and nobody can convince me otherwise.
Yeah.
At least the production design looks incredible.
It does.
No, well, keep in mind, whether I'm biased or not, I think the movie's incredible anyways. But the production design, you can't tell me that doesn't look incredible still.
No, it does.
It's
And
the thing that holds up the most. It's awesome.
you know, I love the entire just abstract notion of the way everything like feels and looks in the first place, and that's something that you don't run into, I feel like, as much anymore. Tim
No.
Burton likes to do that sort of thing. I think Tim Burton peaked in the 80s and 90s.
Yes.
Once he started to get his hands on computer animation or
Yeah.
anything like that, it just
Yeah.
started to go downhill with the look of his films. But I mean, you know, same thing as Beetlejuice just gives it that almost like, when is Edward Scissorhands? Everyone has like this real 1950s feel, but
Yes.
it's still the 90s. And it's like, I love that type of, it can make a film really timeless if you just
Yeah.
set it in this abstract type setting. And Batman 89 feels like it's a film grounded in, this is reality of a normal Earth we live on, but also it's like a little bit different and it adds a little bit of a comic flair.
The only thing that I would say potentially dates the film is the Prince music.
The Prince music, yeah.
Other than that, you can't tell me that you're right. It looks timeless.
Yeah.
That's what's nice about that, is that you don't know what year, what decade it's from or whatnot. It's great. But the Prince music, I don't mind the Prince music, especially, but that's me seeing it for years, and now it's part of the film. But that is a thing from the 80s that could potentially date it. And I've heard people that are like, oh, that is 80s galore, and that feels dated. But
I will give it this though. The artist that they chose.
oh yeah,
I mean, you're talking, at least it's Prince.
yes,
And it's not an abstract or not, but like an obscure artist from the 80s that's
Right.
like, well, oh, that guy was just so from the 80s. At least it is this kind of like timeless artist who is still relevant like in music history today.
right. And instead of it being like, you know, your typical white 80s wow,
Yeah.
or like, you know, some days love,
Yeah.
or like some type of slow loving you.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
You got Prince and
Right.
yeah.
Which I still love that stuff, but yeah, you're right. Prince is very much big at the time for sure.
Yeah.
And still, and you know, rest in peace. He's an amazing artist.
Right.
But that is the one thing that could possibly date the film.
But other than that, no, it
yeah.
does feel like a film that could be almost from any time period, from the cars to the look. And I personally, I'm just going to right now say this, my favorite look of any Batman film, just period, over even what Nolan did in The Dark Knight.
I would agree.
Like
I-
the look.
The look of the
production, yeah,
feel, the
the
aesthetic.
feel.
Okay.
The only film that would, I don't want to say rival, but at least could stack like this with 89 is Batman Begins. Because at least that film, Batman Begins had that theatrical style.
Yes.
Had a theatrical style like 89, with the narrows, the intense rain, the warm tungsten look. Like it was and lots of rain. It looked great. After that, though,
They just
Dark Knight and Rises
forgot
just
about
felt
it.
like, yeah, they
Well,
forgot about it. It felt like Chicago, and
And it is. It feels like a normal city, and I can't even complain about what they're doing for those movies because it works for those films.
Trying to keep it grounded and
Yeah.
whatnot. Yeah.
But if we're talking about what I want to see from Batman, I want it to harken to the comics. I want it to harken to the animated series.
What
which
he is,
obviously- what
very
he is.
expressionistic, very just larger than life.
Yep.
Like, yeah, it's New York, like Gotham, New York on steroids.
on steroids.
So that's
Yeah,
what you need.
that's
and,
great.
And I mean, just the opening beautiful matte painting shot of Gotham, and then you go into when you follow that family
Yeah.
in the opening of the film, where you think it's the Waynes, but it's really not. It's an awesome like okey doke. But that entire portion, Gotham is lively.
Yep.
Granted, it's the most lively it'll ever be in the entire film, but because it is a set and whatnot.
The Monarch.
Yeah, exactly. You see the Monarch Theater at least 50 times. But overall, though,
Yeah.
it has way more of a personality
Yes.
than any other comic book.
And it's great when
film.
Gotham has, because Gotham is, it's the most famous city from, I mean, obviously New York, but that shouldn't really count
Right.
just because it's New York. Gotham is the most famous fictional city
Yeah,
probably ever created.
yeah,
And you want Gotham to have an identity of its own.
yes,
And the Dark Knight trilogy, yes, incredible films. All these other ones, incredible films. And I personally like when Batman is grounded a little bit in reality. If I was making a series, I wouldn't want it to be so outlandish. I want it to feel a little bit, but that doesn't mean that doesn't mean you can't do a mix of grounded with reality with some cool abstract art and choices.
and that I was
does that well.
I was just about to say that I totally, but the Batman does kind of harken back to Batman Begins'
It does.
style. So I would say, and it really, because with all that rain, the tungsten look, the shadows, the darkness, I like that Matt Reeves said, okay, I'm gonna keep it grounded, but I am gonna bring kind of back that Batman Begins type of more theatrical look.
Yes.
It's still grounded, but theatricality. So those two films, Batman Begins and The Batman, are the two that I think stack up close to 89's
89.
look.
I'm not a fan of it in Returns. I will say that. I'm not a fan of Gotham in Returns.
No, because that film is very much Burton, and it's even more of a set. Feels more even more like a set than 89 felt. Not a whole lot of extras. They feel like they built the main set with the Christmas tree outside with all these stores and buildings, but that was it.
Yep.
And it's like, and then you just got a couple back alleyways and some rooftop scenes. That's
Like
it.
Turns feels like a theme park.
It feels
does.
like, no, to me, it feels more like a play. Like
Very well, yeah. Well said.
But feel like a play.
Man, you gotta steal my
Now,
thunder.
I do think though that it was kind of intentional too, though, because Burton comes from expressionistic,
Yep.
Old school Hollywood, German expressionism, film noir, like German expressionism, even the horror films back then.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a set where you have, like, I watched the original Dracula recently, for October, and it's the first time I ever watched it. Great film, but it was a lot of wides and it was in like concentrated set areas and stuff like that, and you can tell that it's a set, but it's still great, and the lighting is what makes it look awesome. I think that's what Burton was kind of going for, make it more gothic, way too Burton. But I still enjoy Returns a lot, but for sure 89 is that peak.
It is.
Because it is Burton reserved a little bit, because he had to
Prove himself still.
he had to prove himself still and whatnot. But yeah, the production design overall, I think it's one of the best. I think it's like, I wish that I will agree that it is more style over substance. But don't you think that you want to have some style?
You definitely want
and
to
at
have
least
some
be
style.
Yeah, and also be like, wow, that
Well, especially since it's the first,
True.
true iteration of Batman. Like,
and too, like, coming back from all the Superman movies, you had to, like, you want this to be the complete opposite. So they really ran with that, because
They did.
all the Reeves films felt it was very bright, Metropolis, whatnot. It's like, all right, now let's bring it to this. And I
That's
think
genius.
it's so genius.
Because Superman and Batman probably should have a slight different
Oh, absolutely. No,
I don't know. I don't want to go back to all that.
I will agree. That's what it. No, I do agree. That's the stand. That's the gold standard. That's how they are. That's what it is.
it's because we have that picture of that.
That made me do that. I know.
That's hilarious.
You could see mine and John's.
And it was funny. It's that, like, It's like looking back on that review. Why the hell do we have the same bat emblem in between?
Fill that gap.
It's literally just because there was a gap.
I should have
Okay.
put Bob.
Bob.
Yeah.
Who's
Yeah,
Bob?
Bob the
His number one guy.
Oh, Bob the Goon.
my number one.
Yeah,
That guy.
It's actually Jack
Tracy Walter.
Yeah, Jack
Nicholson's real
close friend. Yeah. Put it in there.
While we're talking about design, though, before we move on from this area of discussion, that's for the overall set. We're talking about the overall feel of Gotham. But let's talk about some key elements here, down to, how about the Batmobile?
Yeah, that's still production design. Absolutely. It is the most iconic
It's the most iconic Batmobile in live action.
And what I love though is that every single person, even when people haven't necessarily seen this movie, though, when that car is revealed in the movie, every single person still says, "Wow, that's a car. That's awesome." It leaves an impression. It's awesome. It's so iconic.
Yep.
It's actually a really fast car. Like they just that it was on a set, so they couldn't always necessarily shoot it in a way where you could show that it being fast. When they're going through the forest though, and you have that whipping past camera, that's how fast it can go, and it can go.
That's incredible.
It literally, it was taken from I forgot what type of car it was. It was taken from an actual existing car and then put everything on top of it and reworked it. But it was super fast. But that production design for that is so awesome. I think the only one that rivals it to me is the animated series, because it was pretty much like that.
Based off of it.
Exactly. A little more simple, a little more sleek, but still awesome. It's very intimidating.
It is.
So intimidating, but it's classic and it's awesome.
And I mean, I think that also does play into the fact that when I think Batmobile, I think it's a mix of both 89 and the animated series of them both having that kind of design.
Super long hood.
Super long hood.
Yeah.
But obviously it started in 89, so it has to get its due credit.
Yes.
How about character design though?
Okay, so let's get into the let's start off with the Joker.
Start off with the Joker.
Jack Nicholson's Joker. I love it.
Just the design right now.
The
right?
design, yeah. I love Joker's look. It's so iconic, so classic. I will say that Nicholson's look when he's not the Joker as Jack Napier, when he has the and he's just smiling regular, it's already great.
Yeah.
You didn't necessarily have to scar him like that to where it's a permanent grin. I will say you didn't need to do that. I like it though, because I still like it because it's Burton's feel, it's Burton's flavor.
Yeah.
But you didn't have to do that. That's the only thing to me that didn't need to. Well, that's the only thing for me that's the most glaring thing. It's still not bad though, but because the actual practical makeup is still amazing.
The makeup is amazing.
But you didn't really have to do that.
The with the grin, I think, what would it look like though if you didn't? That's the interesting thing.
Well, it does give him a distinct look for sure. Like if he didn't have that, it would have just been the makeup, lipstick, and whatever.
Jack Nicholson.
So like that does give him a distinct a distinct feature.
It does,
for sure.
and it
But
gives him that real,
Right.
Joker grin,
It
which
does. It is pretty intense when he's getting the surgery, and when the surgeon is like, you have to understand that the nerves went completely separate. It's like, nerves, holy. And then when you see the devastation when Jack shoots Batman and he blocks it, goes through him, and then you see that, you just get a little glimpse of like, oh my gosh, the cheek is completely devastated. Even Batman looks at like, holy. Look, if you look at Keaton's thing, he's like, what? And he sees it and it's like, whoa. And then he drops into the acid. But like, it still looks amazing though. Did that just look great? Another thing too is I love his look for sure. And they needed to, they wanted to spice him up and bring in the vibrant colors with and the clown look. I also do think though that the look that Napier has with just the regular purple outfit that he wears, even when he's talking to the mob bosses, you could have just left it at that. You didn't have to necessarily go crazy with the look, but at the same time, when that look is with that big trench coat, he looks awesome.
He looks awesome.
He looks so cool with the hat and everything. So that's just minor gripes if you want to make it more grounded and not outlandish. But then again, at the same time, that's what Joker is. He's outlandish. So like, why not?
And there's so many iconic Joker looks. It is cool when you look at the transition from Romero to Nicholson and how it's almost like they just are taking a notch off the clown each time, because there's similarities between Nicholson to Romero, and then even Ledger then to Nicholson.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
then we'll skip it over Leto, and then Phoenix
Yeah.
And then whatever the new one is.
well, because he's not scarred. He's not scarred at all.
Yeah.
Arthur Fleck. He just has the makeup, and then it doesn't have the bleached face.
but he does have the vibrant
love his
Cesar
suit.
Romero-esque
Harkening back to that
which is super awesome.
The only thing
Cesar Romero mixed with Nicholson a little bit. It's really nice.
mixed with Nicholson.
Yeah.
I don't like the eyes. That's about it with when it comes to Phoenix, but that's
I see. I do kind of I do kind of like that because at least it gives that makeup because they're using the Heath Ledger route where he paints it.
Yeah.
So at least though he gives the clown look as opposed to just paint
Right.
white only, and it's like, oh, but there's no texture.
There's no clown.
That gives him texture at least,
Yeah.
and he looks like a creepy Ron McDonald,
he does.
which is great. Which is a great look. It's a great look.
But Nicholson is 100%, in my opinion, the best designed Joker. I know a lot of people say Ledger, but to me, it's just you can't.
Well, Ledger, it's pretty much just like he almost found Nicholson's Joker's clothes in the dumpster and just took them for himself.
Yeah, and they're dirty now, and they're a
Yeah.
little bit worn. And
Right.
I mean, his design, there's no complaint with Ledger's look, especially
Oh,
for that
it's
film.
awesome.
It's amazing.
Oh yeah.
But I think Nicholson looks even more like the Joker than Cesar
He
Romero
really,
does.
yeah, he really does.
I mean,
he really does.
You look like you are watching. And people always say like, "Oh, Nicholson just feels like Nicholson." When I watch that movie, I feel like I'm looking at the Joker.
Okay, I'm glad you said that
Yeah,
because
so, I mean, he does a good job.
I'm
It's crazy.
I'm glad you said that. I feel like people that say that are just because Nicholson is Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Crazy Jack, and she's been in so many films. He's amazing. He's a pop culture icon.
Yeah.
So people sometimes just kind of like just see an actor as just the actor.
Yeah.
Like similar to like The Rock.
Yep.
Like when you see a movie with The Rock, you just see him as The Rock.
Yeah.
And that's when they reach a certain threshold of pop culture icon.
Yeah, absolutely.
But at the same time, though, yes, there's a lot of elements of Nicholson bringing his own flavor into it and acting like Nicholson. But it's amazing, and it's the Joker. Like he is very threatening.
He is.
And also unpredictable, like Heath Ledger's and just the Joker in general. Very unpredictable.
This time watching it, it was like, yeah, he's got some scary sequences with him in it.
He does. And
Comfortable.
It's actually
He's-
freaky.
he's the freakiest Joker as well, and I want Joker to look freaky.
Yeah.
And I think
Because he looks cleaner than every other Joker.
there it is.
Right,
There it is.
freaky.
Because Joker should be this kind of like almost well put together, kept, but then just mental maniac type thing.
right.
I don't like this, and I'm gonna sound old, I guess, but I don't like this grungy looking like. He's just like, I'm not a fan of even what they're doing with the Batman. I can tell you right now with the character design of the Joker.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. When I watch a comic book movie, my overall feel is I would like to watch the characters that I'm reading come to life.
Right.
And I guess it depends what iteration you're pulling from. But since this was trying to do a classic Batman movie, I love having a classic Joker design.
Absolutely,
And
I agree.
it's
Classic
just,
Jack.
I mean, it's one of my favorite elements of the film, though. His look, it's
His
amazing.
all of his Joker gadgets are classic. The buzzer on his hand. That's a terrifying sequence.
Flower.
He fries a dude.
yeah.
The
acid.
the acid
flower.
flower. That's
Used it.
terrifying.
Tried
too.
it twice.
The gun, the long ass gun that comes out of nowhere is just the most ridiculous thing ever.
Yep.
But it's so Joker.
The pow
Oh,
gun.
the bang. Yeah.
The bang,
The bang, my bad.
that's also great too because it goes from a lethal gun to also a clowner's gun with the bang.
Yep.
Everything.
I mean, they just so many. The teeth.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Well, so
yeah.
many of them.
Yeah. Oh, I love that scene too because it's like it's just trolling.
Yeah.
No,
He's getting his ass kicked.
he's
by
the
Batman,
only
but he's also
one.
trolling it.
He's the only one. Like he was the last of the Joker, besides
do
Romero.
Joker
that
type
actually
things
did
like that?
The Joker, like
Yeah. The
besides the games maybe, but like live action movies, no.
Joker became much more. The joke is just on the city or on the person rather than that, which he does because he's doing that same thing on a grand scheme, but he's also doing these small little just like I'm insane and here you go, here's some teeth and like
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, even the main plot of Joker poisoning and killing people left and right with hair and makeup products in the film, and him having the greatest gag ever, and it's like, oh my gosh, we have to try to avoid it. But Joker's like, that's the gag. Chances are you have it already. And it's like, whoa. And then
Yep.
people start freaking out, deaths left and right. And people start now wearing hygiene products now. And they're all, the reporters looking rough. That's hilarious, man, because they're all like pimples and stuff like that when they usually get all
Yeah.
makeup on, stuff like that for broadcast, and now they're looking rough and stuff.
I love the commercial scene.
I do too. I think it's actually like, yes, it's goofy, but it's also kind of terrifying
It is terrifying. Yeah.
because it's like, whoa, he's having a blast knowing that if you put on makeup or any type of deodorant and stuff like that, you're gonna die, and you're gonna not only you're gonna die, you're gonna die laughing with a huge grin.
Messed up.
And I
It's messed up. Yeah,
I love the idea of the Joker being able to accomplish things that you don't know how he did it. And you don't have to know. And that's the genius of having a character like the Joker that's so fluid and such a liquid character, is that he can just pull things off that you're just like, well, there's no way a villain could do that. That's not realistic. But it's like, you get so much free pass with the Joker because it's just like, whatever. He can accomplish it and he can do it.
But what I love though,
It's the same thing with Batman.
Same thing with Batman.
yeah, exactly. And what I love ultimately though too is that he is very calculating, and he is insane, and he is terrifying, especially when at the end he's enticing people that he's going to give everyone $20 million away and everything.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's to get everybody going, to hurdle, to all gather around, because money's money.
Yeah.
People go crazy for it, but then ultimately he wants to kill everybody. Because he also wants to get back at Batman, but he also knows that Batman is going to be hot on his trail. So he at least wants to take as many down with him as possible. That scene when he's looking at the camera and he's like, if you got to go with a smile. And he turns it on and everything. It's beautiful. He's looking at the camera the entire time. It's terrifying.
You know what's
Like
crazy?
your failed and useless lives. Like, whoa.
Your fail is this Joker. His entire purpose in this film is essentially to piss Batman off.
Sure.
Once Jack Napier becomes the Joker, really that's his only mission at that point, is he just wants to get back at Batman.
Because of what he did to him.
Yeah.
It did turn him completely crazy. But at the same time, create anarchy in Gotham.
Yep.
And see, what I love about it is that you feel Gotham's like struggle with crime and overall anarchy. I kind of miss. I wish that was the case with Returns and all the other films too. The Dark Knight trilogy is what kind of got that back with crime and crime, organized crime, stuff like that. But this film did it first, and I love that you see that.
They were, and it's this might, we'll go back to character design right after this, but like, it is interesting because out of all the ones before Dark Knight trilogy, this is one of the only films that was actually setting up a world that has like, we're having issues in it, and there's actual characters trying to accomplish things, because none of the other three films from the 90s did any of that.
Nope.
And it was only solely villain character based with a little bit of Batman sprinkled in. But this one actually has the cities going through it, and like, you forget the whole opening of the film,
I
like
don't even remember seeing that ever.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like how much
I thought it started with the wide shot of the city, and then it went into some scene with like Vicky Vale or Knox or something, but it goes into like,
no, the whole thing
Political-
with Harvey Dent and Gordon and
always forget Billy D. Williams as Dent.
yeah.
Wasted opportunity.
Wasted opportunity, absolutely. But it's
A man of few words.
it's a shame that people don't really give it credit for really inspiring almost. I mean, I guess they pulled it from The Long Halloween as well,
Yeah.
but you know, I mean, doing what the same plot line that The Dark Knight did 19 years before.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Every other iteration cares about the story, because the 89, then the Dark Knight trilogy, and then I think
The
Batman is doing the same thing with
Yeah.
like building that entire world within one movie.
And it's really the story that you want to tell with a Batman film of just the, you know, organized crime and the whole. It's great.
Yep. I do love that, at least when you have that press conference and whatnot, and with Harvey Dent, you do see Bruce Wayne's chair and in the name of Bruce Wayne right next to Commissioner Gordon, and Bruce was supposed to be there. Now I will say that I wish we got more of that. I wish there was a scene where Harvey Dent and Bruce talked, and even with Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
So he's trying his best because Bruce is trying his best to help in any way. but we'll get into that because there's also some stuff that I just love about Keaton's Batman. But overall, Joker design, I still love it. It's so classic. Nicholson. Let's get right into. We go to the production design. Then let's go into the performance. Nicholson, we already talked about it though, but he's awesome in it.
He's fantastic.
And it's like he came first. And he's the one that got it back, and he brought it into this ground, being grounded but also larger than life, super freaky, super terrifying,
and the
still.
Joker being the role that it is as well, of being this like, you know, I mean, Heath Ledger really pushed it over the barrel with that, but like being this like sought after. Oh, he's playing the Joker.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you got to be a good actor to do this.
and he for the longest time, for decades, he was the definitive Joker.
Will freak out almost more if the Joker cast is deemed wrong rather than Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Probably because the mask, but still, like,
Yeah. No, it's true.
crazy. That's why they didn't announce who the heck is playing Joker for the new one, I guarantee you, until like the movie came out and you're just like, oh yeah, it's Barry, what is it?
Barry Keoghan.
Barry Keoghan or something.
Yeah,
Which
great actor, by the way.
Probably for the best.
Amazing. He's Killing of the Sacred Deer. I just watched Saltburn, and he's one of the, he is terrifying in that. So
Really?
so weird. He could be he could be interesting. Let me tell you. Design wise, you know, that's neither here nor there. We'll see how that looks, because technically you can't really see anything yet.
Yeah.
You see the deleted scene, you see him a little bit, but he's in silhouette. So technically, they can change it if they wanted to, because that's a deleted scene.
I'm hoping they do. I'm hoping they adjust a little bit. I'm not a fan of it right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nicholson. I mean, the only person obviously for me who can rival him is Ledger when it comes to the role. Both of them are great in their own respect. I can't even really pick a favorite because, yeah, Ledger feels like the true Joker. And what he does and what he accomplishes, and he's just outstanding. But then Nicholson also feels like the true Joker. I think they just both nailed it perfectly, and I think it's almost getting to the just subjective nitpicking at that point of which one do you prefer.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the spot that Nicholson should be held.
Let's save Batman for last.
Other characters we talked about.
Let's go under 8 minutes.
Huh?
We're at 48 minutes already.
Nice.
Nice.
We've gone over one category.
Knox.
Knox is great. Yeah. all the supporting characters. Knox is great as a reporter who's you're kind of seeing his through his character, the investigation, the mystery of Batman, stuff like that. Like, he's great. The actor is awesome. Everybody loved Knox in the concert.
They did.
He brings levity too.
Yeah,
that's needed, which is great.
That last time we watched 89, which was, I don't remember how long it was, before The Flash came out. We watched that one, and we talked about the fact that it's kind of nice that you're almost watching the movie. The person who you're following through the film is almost more initially Knox and then Vicky Vale. And that's nice because you want it to be focused on Batman, and obviously that's something that Nolan just did perfectly. But it is nice to see where it makes it feel like Batman and Joker are almost these like larger than life type characters that these ordinary people are kind of thrown into the mix with.
And you're also it feels like you're thrown into it as well, because
it is
just everything is just so larger than life and so crazy, and it's like, whoa, that you're in there, and you're like, whoa, what in the world? And you're like on this journey, on this trip with everybody. And you happen to catch a maniacal clown and then dude dressed up as a bat. Crazy crime going on. It's crazy. I love it though.
No, it is.
Kim Basinger does a pretty good job. Her scream is holy crap.
Oh gosh, dude.
Yeah.
That's a scream, let me tell you. It was gonna be Sean Young, who was she played in Blade Runner as what's her name?
I couldn't
in Blade Runner.
From Blade Runner.
In Blade Runner.
Justin's on it.
Oh man.
The original?
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Blade Runner. What's her character's name?
I was really trying to figure it out.
But Sean Young.
Nice.
Sean Young.
He just keeps saying
Sean Young's
Young.
character in Blade Runner.
Sean, Rachel?
Rachel. Jeez. I had a massive brain fart, but
Right.
no, but she was going to play Vicky Vale, which made sense because Blade Runner was also film noir, and Burton was going towards that film noir look.
Yeah.
I think she would have been great, but she did have a really bad accident riding a horse. So Kim Basinger and Sean Young did screen tests and everything. She was ready to do it.
Yeah.
So Basinger came in last minute. But she was still great. She had a great look for what Byrne was going for that film noir, the blonde, stuff like that. Like it works. Love that she's a photographer and trying to grab a picture of Batman. I will say that she does turn into a damsel in distress.
Yes.
She's no Lois Lane either. But I think overall, I think she does a pretty good job. The writing could have been maybe a little bit better, but at the same time, a lot of the love interests are not always
From that era, more.
especially for that era, exactly. But I think she does a good job. Billy D. Williams, Harvey Dent, waste of potential.
Waste of
amazing.
potential. He can't really mess up because he's just so cool.
So cool, but he also
just has that.
But he could be a cool Harvey Dent, man. Like
a really
he's
great
very,
Harvey Dent.
you can see he's very, very determined to rid Gotham of crime.
It's amazing how much he actually, I mean, he's limited in the film, but every time he's in the film, he is doing the job right for the performance that he's doing.
Yeah.
Like, we're working on it. Like,
Yeah, very, very, very like trying his best.
Yeah.
He's got the mayor up his butt and literally like, I'm trying. I need help and this and that. Like Batman is just now being Batman, that type of thing. So
Yeah.
that relationship's not there yet. You do feel that the police and Harvey Dent and the mayor, they're all trying to rid Gotham of this. And waste of potential. Pat Hingle as Commissioner Gordon. That was the one thing.
Right.
Now, I will say
the weakest.
I will say
this,
this.
Gordon.
I will say though, this is the most you'll see Gordon actually doing stuff. Like he is trying
From
his
that
best.
series.
Yeah, he is trying his best to be the commissioner and stuff like that. But that is the one thing about this series, even Burns films, like especially Return, he's barely in it.
he just is Returns the one that he just comes walking up to him and like, we're very grateful for you, Batman.
Yeah, that's it. There was, but see, then they could have done like,
They just
especially
forgot. Like they didn't know how to put him in there.
It is
They
weird
did
because
it.
Gordon, I mean, from right off the bat, from the original Batman comic, you're talking with Alfred, probably the most prevalent character of the series.
Yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
more than, Robin as well. But like, Gordon is a huge character for the lore and one of the main characters that you need to focus on.
Yeah.
And it's a weird choice that they made to like, I don't know if
It
they
is a
just
weird
didn't know what to do with a
I think-
top type character.
I think it was just, I don't know. It is a lot of characters. They probably just wanted to focus on the main, on what's more prominent. But Gordon is very much there with Batman, man. Like that is supposed to be the one person in Gotham that helps Batman.
And you can't get a better Gordon than Gary Oldman.
Oh, I agree with that. Yeah.
It's just
Which
I mean,
potential with J.K. Simmons, I think he could have been amazing.
he could have been great. And what's his name? He was great as well from the Batman.
Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah.
Oh, Jeffrey Wright's great. Yeah.
But I mean, no, just they knocked out apart with
Yeah.
and he looks so much like him from the animated series.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like identical. I mean, gray
Absolutely.
hair, yeah, but like
Yeah.
I don't know how he can just completely
Morph.
He can just morph.
Yeah.
Oldman,
Yeah.
if you look at him in the Dark Knight trilogy, look at how he looks in Batman Year One. It's literally Gary Oldman.
It's literally Gary Oldman.
I think they did that. I think they literally said Batman Year One is our staple.
Yeah.
For Batman Begins, this is what we want, and succeeds. But
I wish Gordon was Gordon in this
Yes.
film, and he's not Gordon.
yeah,
And
yeah, no,
that's one of the character complaints.
yeah.
Now you go that way, you go that way. Be careful. Be very careful.
I know that's it. It's like, oh wow, he could have been.
You get a dry martini.
He could have just been Chief. He could have just been Chief O'Hara.
He's
from,
basically Chief O'Hara.
from the '66 movie and show. Like,
And Gordon, he doesn't do a lot in. I mean, actually, he's probably more involved in '66 than he is in '89.
yeah, 'cause at least he's helping Batman solve stuff.
Solves the.
All those crazy ass riddles and stuff.
It is funny that I was
What
talking.
waddles? A penguin. Penguin. It's like what?
The one scene where they go, where did he go? Where did he go? And you kind of completely see Batman going up through the smoke.
Yeah.
That was one moment from the film that got me, where I was kind of
On
having
the concert.
yeah, last night when I'm watching it, because he
That wasn't. That was,
You
that's
can
not.
see him.
That's not.
The smoke pellets are supposed to hide his exit. You could see.
Well, no, but that's
he
fun.
like made it a point to show his wings too.
Well, that's it. No, that's actually good. I like that. It's the extra ADR that's playing. Where did he go? It's like no.
is that not originally in the film?
No.
Okay, that's probably
No,
why
It's literally just the
did he
music
go?
after the cop and Gordon saying, "Who is this guy?" It's like I don't know. Just keep a lid on it. And you see the cops like this and looking up. You just have the music swelling and they see the smoke, But sadly, at least with that, the two cops, that makes sense in that scene because they just
They're
arrived.
from
It's
the other side.
the smoke. They look up.
Yeah.
Why would you say, where did he go? It's like, whatsoever. It's like, where did that ADR come from? That's the only thing about that concert. It's like, there was some interesting ADR. I was like, what?
Yeah.
But anyways,
And then we got Alfred as well. And
Goff.
you
Michael
can't-
Goff.
You got nothing. I got nothing bad to say about Michael Goff.
no, he's awesome, man. I mean, he is actually the only thing he is the thing in the first original 4 films that comes back and is great to see. He's definitely that father figure, that old man father figure that does counsel Bruce when need be, but he is also like there with him to get stuff done. And Michael Goff is awesome. He's a great Alfred.
He's a great Alfred.
No problem with him at all.
No.
So good.
And then pretty much right into the titular character,
Title character. Michael Keaton as
Michael
Batman.
Keaton as Batman, Mr. Nuts.
Yes. Wanna get nuts? You want to get nuts? Come on.
Let's get nuts.
He was great.
Birdman, Vulture, Batman,
Ray Kroc.
Beetlejuice.
No, the founder.
Nice. But Michael Keaton as Batman. We obviously know the story that he was so shunned and was rioted before the internet became the internet. Back then, being casted because he is a comedic actor. But he can do serious roles, and now look at it. Now he is iconic, and everybody sees him as the definitive Batman. Now it's just so funny to see that.
It is.
Because it's like holy crap! They even had news articles and everything, like Mr. Mom as Batman and all this stuff. Like
Mr. Mom.
Keaton even said that he got letters and stuff. This is back then. Letters of people shunning him and all this stuff, and all it was freaking great.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But now look at him, and it's as soon as everyone saw the movie, everybody shut up. Everybody shut it up and was like, "Whoa, okay." He is awesome.
He's fantastic.
He's
an amazing Bruce and Batman.
It's an interesting take on Bruce slash Batman.
Yeah.
As you feel similar to Robert Pattinson's Batman, where he feels more comfortable donning the cape and cowl rather than being Bruce. Granted, he does. Keaton's Batman does make an appearance as Bruce, but he's definitely awkward. But correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like this Bruce is distracted.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's because of Vicky Vale. Like you can tell that the mission is Batman being Batman, taking down crime. But as soon as he meets Vicky Vale, he's just like,
I mean, it's kind of it's Mask the Phantasm.
A little bit, yeah.
Same
That
sort of
idea.
distractedness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's
Except
kind of like, ooh,
He
And
literally
early on in
he couldn't say it.
yeah,
He was like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
ding ding.
And that's the thing is that like he's so fixated on the war against crime, but then this person comes in and he can be somewhat himself, but even still very reserved. Like even Vicky Vale says, like, "You won't let me in. I'm trying, but you won't." And he's like, "I want you to, but this is how it is." That type of thing.
it's not a perfect world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he says that exact same thing as Batman. Think about that. He's like, "It's not a perfect world, is it?"
Oh man. Yeah, no, that is interesting.
So it is Bruce, but he's a Batman that's distracted, and you can tell because like look, especially the scene when Joker in City Hall, Joker takes down that mob boss, and Bruce was there, literally scoping it out and trying to figure out what's going on.
Great scene.
He sees Jack Napier alive, and it throws him off, and he's fixated on that. But Vicky Vale tries to grab him, but he's just looks at her and then leaves.
Doesn't register anything because he's just right back there, runs back.
Runs back,
Napier's still alive.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Alfred's like, hey, Vicky, Miss Vale called. I think you this and that, and he's like, she's great, I know, but I can't think about that right now. And then he's like, I just found out Jack Napier's still alive. He goes right back to being Batman, but then he's also distracted. He's like, she is great, and
Alfred, she is great. Yeah, great job on that out.
You can tell that he's like, I don't know what to do with this stuff.
Alfred.
So this was a curveball. Alfred tries his best to be like,
freaking
a lot of great subtlety in that. There's so much great subtlety actually in that film that the other three don't have. Nowhere. It returns a little bit, but this one in particular, there's moments like the way he goes, yes sir. There's good stuff in there, man.
Oh, the scene that I love the most when after what happens with this revelation that comes, he asks Alfred to get the file on his parents, and that scene is awesome because Alfred's messing with the suit, whatever, and then he's like, it's on your desk, and he's looking at it, and Alfred's staring at him, and obviously Bruce is like, what's on your mind? And he's like, I have no wish for my few remaining years, grieving for the loss of old friends or their sons. And Bruce just looks at that and he just stays there. What? But it's literally he's pretty much subtly being stop doing this stuff.
Yep.
Now you're reverting right back to seeing what happened to your parents.
Yep.
You know about this already. You relived it. Also, is this war on crime really worth it? Vicky Vale.
Yeah, he keeps going back to that certain weight that lifts when which people will downplay as just but no, there is stuff there between not so much as even Batman and Vicky Vale, but between Batman, Bruce, and Alfred.
Yeah,
and that's the actual subtle relationship that's better executed than Vicky Vale and Bruce. I would agree. Alfred and him, and I was listening to what is it? The name of his podcast, Fat Man on Batman.
Yeah, Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith. And when they're talking about, him, Alfred letting Vicky into the Batcave, right?
Yeah.
And they're like,
he was controversy at the time.
What? Oh, that was controversy that she let him in. And they're like, I'm sorry, Alfred's out on the street. I say, if you're really talking Batman, no, Alfred's not out on the street, because I feel like Alfred is the only person in Bruce Wayne's life who can challenge Bruce and Bruce go,
especially too, where Alfred is, his butler, his father figure, but even he knows that Bruce is so dedicated to war on crime that he is he puts his foot down almost like a father, where it's you talk to her, you do this and that, you've been avoiding her this whole time. After
he just lets her in, he takes the initiative. And he almost puts Bruce in check at times throughout all the series, but it's a great dynamic between the two of them.
It's so good. But there's so much nuance to Keaton's performance, man.
There is
he, especially when even Bruce is by himself, silent. You can tell it's what is going on in that guy's mind. The scene that I love is when Vicky Vale's following him. And when he goes to the Monarch Theater and Crime Alley, pretty much, and puts the flowers there. Keaton's performance, that look right there, you get it, and even Danny Elfman's music right there. It's all right, you get it now.
Yep.
This is so good. And he's not the playboy billionaire that is what he should be, but it's an interesting take that I do like. Well, and even in Batman Returns, he still is that awkward Bruce, but he has a little bit of confidence sometimes too. Especially in Returns, when he's talking to Max Schreck,
when he's challenging him.
He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to challenge you on this.
Yeah,
the mayor and I see eye to eye." He's like, "What's your angle?" You know, I don't have a. It's like I don't have a villain, a crime boss like Cobblepot behind my belt. Like he's really really taking jabs. He's very confident. It's like quite nice.
And then
Whether or not that's probably the most ideal thing for Bruce to say is up to debate, because
Right,
like
right.
he could be like, "Oh, wait, what are you trying to do here?" But at the same time, he could also. But the way Keaton plays it off is that he's a billionaire who's lived in Gotham and loves the city.
Yeah.
So like I do kind of like that angle that they go with.
And Max Shrek's just a poor schmuck who got lucky.
Yeah. Nice. And sue me if I want to give it back.
Santa Claus.
Afraid not.
Right, nah. But yeah, no, he's the main scene where you get the facade, the Bruce Wayne facade, is obviously the introduction of Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
With him doing the party or the fundraiser, and
He's like, it's Japanese.
yeah,
How do you know? Because I bought it in Japan.
Bruce Wayne.
He's like, give Knox a grant.
Yeah,
It's like that. That's
doing
quite. That is
like,
quite nice. Yeah.
Bruce Wayne.
It's subtle.
Yep.
It's subtle because it's very awkward, very distracted, especially when Alfred like lets him know about Gordon leaving, and it's like I get back to work,
Yep.
that type of thing. But like, I do love that there are some subtle hints of him being confident, being like, "That's a grant."
Good night, Grant.
Yeah, I do love that stuff. Now, but Batman in general, but when he dons that cape,
I mean, he looks like Batman.
yes,
So, I mean, that's,
It's a given.
doesn't always happen though.
Yeah.
especially since Keaton is not what Batman should be. He's supposed to be 6 foot, you know, and there was a lot of people in the running to play Batman.
Yeah.
Of course, people thought that it's gonna be a comedy movie. Bill Murray was brought up and all that stuff would have been crazy. But then as stuff started going, you had Mel Gibson there, Steven Seagal, which would be interesting. He could have really fought and does awesome fight scenes, but you had Mel Gibson, Steven Seagal. You even had Pierce Brosnan, which is very interesting.
Might be a little too proper.
A little bit, yeah, and also the accent.
Yeah.
But Mel Gibson could have been.
Mel Gibson would have been interesting,
He would have been.
especially from the 80s. too.
Yeah, 80s, but like we're talking.
I think he's shorter than Keaton though.
You think so?
I think so.
Maybe.
I think potentially.
Yeah, but they were going down that route. But Burton was like, no, I want to go against type and have somebody that needs to don the cape
Yep.
to be intimidating.
Yo, what?
So then,
Needs to don the tape to be intimidating.
yeah,
Willem Dafoe
really,
was in talks to play Batman.
that's interesting. I mean, he was a Joker,
like,
but
I'm good. I'm good. I'm not
Yeah.
you
count my parents.
Vicky, what I'm trying to tell you.
Very early, they talked to me about playing Batman. That's weird.
Takes off the cape. Everyone's
Yeah. Oh, I know. I don't know which one to be scared of, Joker or Batman.
But no, I mean, there's nothing really. The only complaint I have on Keaton's Batman isn't on Keaton, and that is that he kills. And that's that.
That's the only thing.
But you can't put that on nothing on Keaton's performance.
No, I will say that's the thing. That's what makes Batman. I mean, we've talked about this all the time, but that's what makes Batman interesting. If he just kills, he's the Punisher. There's no reason why he leaves the Joker alive and all these villains. He just kill people left and right. But then that destroys what Batman is. Like he had his parents were killed in front of him. He vows not to kill an individual. There are certain times in some comics and stories where he had to, but it devastated him like crazy as well. And also it needed to happen, but that's a rarity.
Yeah.
So Batman does not kill and should not kill, especially too, where there are times where Batman is truly trying to help cure these villains, but the villains are not. So it's like this back and forth thing. Same thing with the Joker, and it's like, and also too, Batman is quote unquote. There's some screws loose there too.
Yes.
So yeah,
And people make the argument that he did kill originally, which yes,
Yeah,
he
but
did kill originally, and the only reason he didn't kill at first was because of the the censorship of comics,
right.
that had to happen. So then none of DC heroes killed. But then once we got away from that,
as we continued on with Batman, he still continued that rule. So it became a staple of the character and it became a very well utilized.
Exactly. It's like people say, oh, yeah, no, he killed whatever. It's like, okay, great. But what about, all these years later?
Yeah.
There's a reason why he doesn't kill, why writers don't have him killed, because it's the most interesting.
the most
Otherwise,
interesting.
he's the Punisher.
Simple as that, yeah. And it adds depth to the character. I love that it's a just massive plot point of the Dark Knight trilogy as a whole. And it's just one of those things in the 80s. People didn't take things as seriously.
Right, exactly. It was also a thing of too, because Batman was always thought of as comedic, especially the Adam West stuff.
Yep.
So they needed to separate this, but I think they separated a little too much with killing as well. And it's like, come on,
There's no excuse for it today.
no, definitely not.
There's no excuse for it
definitely
today.
not,
I don't even know how you can fathom doing that in a film when it's such a key element of Batman's lore, and how you can just ignore that and include it. Like,
Yeah.
it's just mind-blowing that you
I
would
agree.
even think about doing that and pissing off the fan base.
Exactly. And granted, like, we love this movie for sure. And yes, there's nostalgia, but we also will admit that there are portions in the movie where, like, oh man, he shouldn't. That still bother me too, is that he should not have killed.
He shouldn't have killed.
For sure. And he does do it. He does it more. He does it worse in Returns.
He's having a grand old time doing it.
Oh, I know, man. I know.
Just-
Yeah, I know. The meme, the GIF.
your most used GIF ever, probably.
It's freaking great.
But yeah, no, it's he shouldn't knock the guy off the bell tower. He shouldn't blow up the entire Axis. Chemical
I know,
plant.
man.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
And you
He
got to
sucked
not
at shooting Joker at the end, though. He just completely missed
just
him.
missed. And yeah, I mean, I like that too, because that scene's redone in the Dark Knight. In the Dark Knight, he's going at him, and all he has to do is hit him. Joker's just standing there, but he's going through the conflict.
Yeah.
But then Michael Keaton's Batman's like nope,
All I need is one to hit.
one shot. This guy's gone.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But it's something that I can look past for when it was made, and for the fact that superhero movies were not prevalent, and they were trying to make it edgy, and they were trying to give it a little bit of whatever, like that action film from the 80s.
Yes,
and
yeah.
that was a big thing from that era. And also, but it was carelessness on Tim Burton's part, and it is one thing that kind of flags the film.
Yeah, I would agree. But overall, like, I do love Keaton's performance as Batman, because he is very stoic.
Yes.
He's very quiet. He's efficient. That was one thing that I liked about his return to in the Flash movie. Regardless, we've already talked about that, how disappointing it was. But I loved that you have this Batman. It's a complete contrast from Affleck's and even other Batmans. Is that this, when Keaton's as Batman, in especially in the Russia sequence in the Flash, he is efficient like crazy, and it's great. Barely any talking, just all of this stuff. And
Very Batman.
Yeah, and very much in this film, he's very competent, but he's still like rough around the edges too, though. And he does get his ass kicked.
And
sometimes.
they did a good job at, I think that was all intentional to show that he is, only at this for about a month, roughly, maybe a little bit over, where he's actually out in the open, because they said, what does Knox say in the beginning of the film? He's like, what is that, the 8th sighting? And
just under a month.
yeah, so it's new.
It's year one for sure.
It's year one.
Yeah.
So that is cool to see. And so, and then, yeah, I think that's pretty much sums it up, though.
I
is
mean,
Keaton.
Yeah, and now let's go into the production design of the suit. I love the suit. It's so good. Grant, I know that it's limiting, and we all can tell for sure. And when the fight stuff happens, it is a lot of a stuntman in it.
Yeah.
But when Keaton's there as Batman, just stoic or doing a couple things here and there, it's amazing. He is really, really intimidating, and he's intimidating because he just is quiet.
Yeah.
And he appears left and right. It's great. Love the sequence, the iconic shot of him stepping in, boom, hits one of the hits the one thief or goon right there. It's so dope, man. Yeah.
I love the way it looks when they're on top of the cathedral.
Oh yeah.
And when they're both hanging on,
Yeah.
he just looks so cool in that
He does
shot.
look cool, man.
And the way
He
he's
does.
looking up at him, I don't know, just the angle of the shot, but
Yeah.
like he looks intimidating there.
He does.
It's nice.
Oh yeah.
It's cool. It's cool.
It's definitely he's definitely more that suit's definitely. Oh, that's an amazing shot. He just pulled up a shot. It looks so good. But he's definitely more tactile in that as far as that suit is concerned. The other films, even Returns, is more sleek.
Yeah.
I do love Returns suit a lot actually, especially the cowl. It looks even better than the original because Keaton's very claustrophobic. So if you look at it, at it, the especially for the cowl, there's like it's thick.
Yeah, I know. That's the one thing I notice every time.
It's mainly
really
it's
thick.
mainly on the close-ups because like a lot of like the other shots, it's actually totally fine. But like some close-up of the eyes, or maybe like in the Batcave with Vicky Vale, when it's just the eyes that are lit, which is amazing by the way. You can tell that like that. So at least with with Returns, it's sleeker, more comfortable for Keaton, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Fight scenes are good, nothing groundbreaking. Especially the limitation of
alleyway
the
fight
suit.
scene.
The alleyway fight scene is a great addition. It wasn't even supposed to be in the film, but they needed more fight, and thank God because it was needed for sure. It is a little bit crazy, especially when the Asian dude comes out with the freaking. But it's dope because the way Batman is like. He's blocking it left and right, the
That's the best
clanking
fight.
of it.
Yeah.
Oh man, the sparks. It's a great scene.
I wish you did fight Bob the Goon.
Well, he did.
I don't know.
Did in I guess it was deleted, but it is Keaton actually blocking the knife stuff, and then but of course they just did the, which I do love, where it's Keaton like,
Yeah.
and he just leaves. So good. That's actually awesome. But yeah, I love the bat suit though. It's still so freaking iconic, and regardless of limitations and whatnot, you can't deny that at least with. When he puts that on and you see him walking around, he's intimidating.
And he defined the most probably iconic Batman moment in all of cinema.
Batman.
The first time Batman.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's so.
On top of it's great. On top of the city, over
Yes.
Gotham, holding the criminal.
I want you to do me a favor. Oh, it's
That's about me. What are
so
you?
good. That's it's so good, and then he just jumps off and he just disappears. Like so good.
So pretty much then into overall story.
Yeah, I mean it is this film is definitely style over substance. It's not the most groundbreaking. It is definitely of the era of film storytelling, especially for a commercial standpoint, that it's kind of like scenes are just happening.
Yes.
There is a story, but it
Yes.
does feel like scenes are just happening. And you're just kind of getting from point A to point
Yeah.
B. There's not like it's still linear, but it's still kind of like it's hard to explain. But I think everybody understands what I'm trying to get at. But especially when you see in the film, the overall story doesn't kick in until Joker starts poisoning the beauty products, beauty and hygiene products. Like, all right,
Yeah.
now you're getting the story, the main story, and that's how then Batman has to try to crack that code.
It does feel
so on and so
yes.
forth.
It feels like 3 episodes almost of a series, which episode 1 is
Yeah.
the introduction of Batman and the Joker.
Yeah.
Episode 2 is the Joker's like attack on Gotham.
Yeah.
And episode 3 would be Gotham's 200th anniversary. And that's how it feels like 3 episodes.
Yeah.
But I will say this, I feel like it gets downplayed a lot with a lot of the stuff that we talked about earlier in this podcast of the subtleties, and we take it for granted because we have the Dark Knight now.
True.
But it shouldn't be ignored that it is telling a story of where Gotham's at this point in history, how crime has run rampant, and how they did tell a story a lot more than almost anything from that was comic book from that era. I mean, they did a story. They gave at least Bruce a purpose for why he is doing this. They acknowledge that he's not just a hero who's out there just doing his thing. We get his backstory. We don't get him training, but we do get his backstory in this film, and it is still in a sense a Batman origin film,
It is, yes.
and people ignore that a lot, and I don't think this film always gets the due credit it deserves. And it did it first,
Yes.
and it grounded doing a serious superhero film in the first place, along with Superman.
Yeah, I agree.
So yes, it's a simple story in comparison to The Dark Knight. But for a film in 1989 that's trying to do a comic book movie,
True.
you did it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very true, and especially since, and you're right, like the subtleties are what makes it even better.
Because you can watch this movie a few times and then like I'll watch it and one of my most watched movies and I'll be like, oh, like you said with Bruce Wayne's name there, like all that type of stuff really adds a lot to this movie
Yeah, I
that
agree.
definitely should be recognized. Not as good of a story as anything in Nolan series, but man, almost equally as good as the Batman. I'll say that. When it comes to the story, I mean, what's the story? It's Batman who is Batman and him taking down crime.
Yeah, true. No, it's true. It's true.
That's pretty much it. But
Yeah. Oh, and the music, Danny Elfman's music.
Yeah,
To find
we
Bat-
went there for the music.
we went there for the
Absolutely.
music.
Yeah,
got
So
it.
that says everything about it.
It's
And,
just amazing, man.
defined the tone of Batman forever
Absolutely, yeah, and still does.
and still does. That is Batman's theme. I played it for Alyssa in the car before we got there.
Oh, really?
And I was like, yeah, because obviously she had never heard it. And I'm like, is that not a great theme? She's like, yeah, that's
Crazy.
great.
She's just never heard it either.
Yeah.
incredible.
Wouldn't have ever run into it.
That's like almost like,
Wow.
I mean, not as bad, but almost like, not knowing the whole who Vader is
Right.
type thing. Because I feel like
But-
it's one of those themes, like the Star Wars theme you hear.
But it's great to get the first catch of it.
Absolutely. I think it was a good, and hopefully they'll want to watch it, again down the road for when you pop it on the TV with
Hope
great
so.
sound and great picture.
Yeah.
but
Guess with the synced up sound design.
But the same, with the proper mix, and it's true. But at the same time, it was an awesome, different experience for somebody who hadn't seen that film to watch it like that. It was still pretty cool.
And and that main theme, that is there's a few themes out there like Indiana Jones or like that when you hear it, it sounds like the character.
Yes, absolutely.
That theme sounds like Batman. It's
Yep.
probably one of its
And
top 3 for me, probably favorite scores of all time.
Yeah, there's multiple too.
Yeah.
Multiple.
It's hard because there's like each one I can hear and think of Batman, but I can't think of any other person or character that you could have multiple different themes that instantly make you know it's the same character,
Yeah.
but yeah, a different version. Like
Yeah.
like Bale's theme. That's Batman too,
Yeah.
and then Pattinson's theme. I think those are the 3 themes: Pattinson's, Bale's, and Keaton's that are all like
I mean,
this is Batman.
Affleck,
I mean, in the animated series, which
Yeah,
is
animated series.
which is like its own thing from spawned from '89. But
Yeah.
then when Shirley Walker, the composer of the animated series, did her own main theme for it. That's iconic too, man.
it is iconic.
so good. But the mainstream '89 for sure. That
Gotta give-
theme.
Whoa. We've done this before. We've said these things before. What I'm about to say, I've said on this podcast before.
What?
That's weird. You got to give Wes his due credit for or not Wes, but the 66 theme, that's
Yeah.
a pretty iconic one as well.
Yeah. No. It's no. I agree. Yeah. You got. Yeah. Rest in peace, man. It's freaking amazing.
It's Batman. It's Batman's themes and his music that are 99% of the time always amazing.
Yeah.
And Batman is
Agree.
one of those characters that I feel like you can, if you're a composer and you get asked to do a Batman film, like, yeah, it's tasking, but man, can you really do a lot. You can show off in a
Absolutely.
Batman movie because the ambiance of the film and just that whole, like, the music's such a big part of it.
It is.
For all films, but especially with Batman, especially with the silence of a lot of them too. And
I
the
do
darkness.
love that Burton allows the film to breathe and just have the music take center stage.
He
A lot of
does.
films don't do that. A lot of films don't do that anymore. The Batman did have some stuff that allowed the music to, the scenes
Yeah.
to breathe and whatnot, which is cool. But this is classic feeling with like, all right, let the music take center stage.
Yep.
And Burton knows when to let that music take, especially the theme coming on. Oh, it's amazing.
He does. And the film, the film does breathe.
Yes.
And that is nice. And I was watching an interview with Michael Keaton, and this guy's talking to him, and he's like, I rewatched Batman 89, and he's like, and I forgot that this is like an actual, like, this feels like a movie. And he's like, and I know it's a movie. He's like, but you know what you're saying? And then Michael Keaton's like, no, I know exactly what you're saying. He's like, and that's a huge part of it. When you let a film breathe, That's what he's saying when he's like, it feels like a movie, because it feels like you're not just watching like whatever, like one of the modern superhero movies.
Loud
of just
noises.
loud noises, explosions, and just ridiculousness. Like this feels like we're watching people, feels like we're watching a film.
You do have
Feels
set
like-
pieces that happen, but
Yeah.
throughout between the set pieces, it is allowing the film to breathe, let the narrative continue.
Yep.
Subtleties happening, all that to progress the plot. It's great.
Yeah.
It's textbook
Yep.
storytelling.
Exactly. And that was just a comment that stuck out to me that I always like remember when I watch this film now. It's just like, yeah, it does. It has that actual film cinema feel to it.
Yep.
Which is nice.
Absolutely.
But one element that I do want to talk about before we wrap up the story is this is a question, and please feel free to comment what you believe this to be as well, because I want more discussion on this, and I'd like to do a separate video on just this subject. Does Jack does Joker figure out that Bruce is Batman?
Right.
Is a
But
problem.
so the whole I'm glad you brought that, because the main controversy of this film for sure is the revelation that Joker did kill Batman's parents back then.
Right.
It's not comic accurate at all. It's supposed to just be a random thug.
Joke
Burt,
show.
I know. We know why Burton did it though. He did say because it added more weight for both of them, especially in the final conflict. Which, sure, but a lot of people were like, "What?" I mean, people are still kind of against it for sure. Some people have kind of made peace with it because it's just one interpretation or whatever. In the context of the film, it works.
With Joker killing Batman.
In the context of the film,
Yeah.
especially with the flashback scene, which is an amazing sequence, by the way.
Yes.
It's a great, in context of the film, it's great, but overall, like, Joker.
I wouldn't want that in all my iterations.
I agree completely.
But yes, that one time, if it's a standalone product,
Yes,
sure.
exactly.
He has to know.
He has to know, because he's like, because especially when Batman does say, "Hey, you killed my parents," and he's like, "What are you talking
You
about?"
had me thinking about
And then-
this while he was talking the entire
Yeah,
time.
he's like, "Look back, Brain. I was just a kid when I killed your parents."
Yeah.
He's highly intelligent, and I think he's actually challenging Bruce Wayne in particular, in the scene when he does. So the outline of the film, and me and John talked about this once. It's you got the scene where they're in Vicky's apartment, and then Bruce leans over to Joker, and he's like, "I know who you are. Let me tell you about this guy. I know Jack." And he's looking at him, and he's getting more and more pissed off as he's going, because he's talking exactly about Jack Napier. And he's like, "You know what happened to this guy, Jack?" And he gives him that look like, "No, tell me, but like, I'm gonna kill you for this, just so you know."
Yeah.
And then he's obviously intelligent enough. He knows that he lived through it. But as he's telling him all this, I think he's processing, okay, this guy's Batman. The very next scene of the film that we see Jack Nicholson, he pushes off the screen. He's not wearing makeup. He didn't want anybody to know that Joker was Jack Napier. That was a big thing that he didn't want people to know in the film. Bruce now knows, and he's telling him, "Why is Bruce Wayne telling me exactly who he is?" Then he's on the screen without his makeup on. And he goes, "Are you hearing me? Just the two of us, mano y mano." And then he goes, "I've taken off my makeup." So it's like, "Hey, here I am. You called my bluff. I'm Jack Napier." And then he goes, "Let's see if you can take off yours." I think he's talking to Bruce in that scene, saying, "Come fight me. You're saying all this shit about me. You know who I am. Well, let me see you come out
Yeah.
and do this."
The
So
way he says, "Let's see if you can take off yours."
Let's see if you
almost
can
like
take
the
off
whole thing,
yours.
Take off Bruce and put on Batman.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so see that won't. That's an interesting thing. And if that's the case, which I actually love that, it's very subtle.
Yes, it is.
It's not so much because in films nowadays or whatnot, it'll just be like this crazy revelation. It's like, oh my gosh!
Here it is for you.
But it's more like this is what it is. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. This is what it is, and this is how it's going to be. And then you get subtle indications of that, of what you're saying, and it's actually it kind of makes both of them very smart, especially Joker.
And and they make it a point even in that scene before when he's reading his profile, and he's like highly intelligent, blah 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 blah. Like, I think that just puts it all together that he's calling Bruce's bluff.
Just interesting though that he does shoot Bruce. He thinks He probably. I mean, did he think that he was actually going to survive that gunshot?
I think that it's the Joker, and almost one of those things like when he comes over smiling, like he's just so twisted, and he's just so like, does he think he killed him? Maybe, but also is he maybe potentially thinking that this guy's Batman and he survived? Yeah, but he's still gonna. Joker's almost like a. So you watch like if you watch like Looney Tunes, let's say, right? Elmer Fudd shoots Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny's fine, but he's gonna like go along and play along with it just for the sake of just feeding into this. That Joker does that stuff all the time.
Right.
He just feeds into like whatever's going on. Okay, I shot you. Here we go. We're having fun.
Right.
You're dead. You're
Yeah.
probably not dead,
Right.
but I'm gonna have fun with it for.
He also does. He
The
did.
whole, like, I'm melting.
Yeah, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like he just will go into a thing.
And he'll ride it a little bit too long
Yeah,
for the purpose of something.
Right.
You know,
I do love that sequence, and
probably scares you.
Bruce definitely is doing the want to get nuts thing. He breaks the thing. It's to make commotion with everybody in that
apartment.
in the apartments. And especially and then once Joker is like, all right, fine, boom, it shoots, but now it's a gunshot, so
And then he
he has to leave.
just takes
True,
off.
yeah.
and that's a big thing with Joker throughout all media as well. Is like what's a great element of the character is that he's a lunatic nut job and he's extremely smart.
Yeah.
And like,
Exactly.
okay, I gotta go. I shot him, but I'm gonna have fun on my way out, and then and just
Yes.
do all that stuff. But
Oh, that's a great point, man.
Yeah.
it's an interesting prompt, and I've seen people mention only the part. I've seen people mention online only the part of him going, "What? I was a kid when I killed your parents." Like, and I'm sure he knows he killed Bruce Wayne's parents as well because it was probably it's Thomas Wayne.
Yeah.
Like he probably knew who he was, or at least read about it after, type of thing. So he probably was able to put it all together. But I don't know why that's not a more talked about thing, and I would like to make it a talked about thing.
Yeah,
So
I don't know either.
please comment what
does.
you think.
I think he
I think he does. I do like that whole thing too of like if he did know, he had to have known that was Thomas Wayne and Arthur Wayne and Bruce Wayne. And then when Vicky is like Bruce and Joker's like Bruce Wayne.
Bruce. Also, I'm glad you said that too, because look at how he kind of gets a little like Bruce Wayne. That's about, and then he says it to him though. You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? Is he just absolutely twisting
And see what
Bruce's brain?
and I love true and what's that makes him even worse, like more maniacal too. But Bruce, because he was a child and it was trauma, he didn't remember that. As soon as he said that, remember that's what threw Bruce off. He's like, what
Hasn't heard that in years.
Triggered him, man. It's like that was
The apartment scene's actually potentially my favorite scene in the film, and I don't know why. I love. Do you want to get nuts scene? I mean, it's iconic, and I love Jack Nicholson's facial expressions through the whole time he's talking to him.
gosh.
But like that.
Oh yeah. He's like he's offended, but he's also because he's just okay.
Yeah.
I'll let you continue.
I like when Bob pulls the gun on him, and then he's like,
Yeah.
like, let's see what he's got to say.
Exactly.
But yeah, interesting prompt.
I love it.
Yeah.
Comment down below. Let us know what you guys think.
Comment down below and let us know what you think. But so we've given our take on Batman 89. The question is, does it hold up around the table? My answer right off the bat is yes, this film does hold up. It is a staple in the genre of comic book films. It is a staple in the genre of the superhero film. It is a staple even in action films of the 1980s. Amazing design, amazing performances, and a lot of subtlety that if you watch it and you really are looking and watching everything that you can catch. And I think this film is just monumental and extremely important for pretty much film moving forward as a whole. And I think it definitely holds up. If I had to give it my own Cinema 3D ranking, because we can do this here now. This film gets high movie magic for me. Somewhere in my top 10 favorite films of all time. I'm just not sure where. It's got me into the character of Batman. still entertaining today, and I watch it like 5 times, 6 times a year probably. Like I just it's one of my films for me.
Yeah.
And that's what I got to say about it.
So, I also very much agree that it holds up. If you feel like you have this void missing with current Hollywood comic book movies, but just overall movies in general, especially action films, stuff like that, give this film a watch if you've never seen it. Make sure that you know going in that it was the first of its kind. You know, it's paved the way. And, you know, expand your horizons. If you don't like old movies, just watch it. I don't understand that. But anyways, that was a rant. But it's a great time, and overall, like, at least I can say with confidence, you'll walk out being like, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And it's just, yeah, it's so good, man. It's really nothing else for me to say. I'm in the same boat with you as Movie Magic. I literally watch scenes over and over again every year. It's crazy. There's some scenes in there that I gotta watch again because it's just so good.
Yep.
And yes, I do watch it a couple times a year because it's just so good, man. But yeah, it is one of my top favorite films of all time. Whether that's nostalgia is up for debate, but I don't care.
Absolutely. And really quick, before we get to Justin's take on does this film hold up, I just got an incoming message from Mike of Cinema 3D.
Oh.
Prompted the question, does Batman 89 hold up? We just had a long talk about it. We'll see what Mike says. No. So that's Mike's.
That's Mike's take.
That's Mike's take for.
That's a hot. That's a hot take.
Justin prompted the question to you: does Batman 89 hold up?
And what did you think about it watching since it's been a while since you've seen it?
Yeah.
And you now watch it in concert. So overall,
hopefully better than the review.
Yeah. I don't even remember what I said there.
Oh, I remember
it's
clearly.
Very different from what I'm about to say. So, great experience, Batman in concert. Made me love the movie even more, and the music. Probably the best experience watching it. I think each time gets better somehow.
Yeah.
I think this movie definitely holds up to this day. It's better than most superhero movies that come out in this current age.
Absolutely.
Not including the Batman movies that have come out in our current age.
Right.
A lot of the 2000s. But
I'm glad you said that, though. It
everything
is
else-
better than the majority of the superhero movies that come out today.
there's probably only a couple that I would put over this movie. But there's like hundreds that have come out since this movie came out. So
Yeah.
that just says everything. And I know I told you this right after we left. We wouldn't have the Dark Knight trilogy or anything else if it wasn't for this movie. There's so many things that call back to this. So many moments. Like, it's insane how many I noticed and how many more I probably missed. So that made me appreciate it even more. I would say for me, this isn't in my collection.
No, that's fair.
Absolutely.
I don't have the nostalgia attachment.
Right.
No,
But I think that I started off years ago with this movie not liking it at all. And I actually don't have this one in my collection, so that it will actually fit. So I need to get it now.
Collection.
But yeah, I think this movie deserves all 3 of those rankings, and it deserves to be watched every year at least.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a Batman fan. Even if you're not, I think it's just a great movie to have a good time with friends. So, yeah, in my collection for me, and I need to buy this movie and watch it again.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here,
folks.
That is our take on Batman 89, and finally did a solid review
Yes.
on this film. Everyone, this is been a review about 10 years in the making. This is one of our first videos we ever posted on our original channel that we have now redone. Our original one was about 7 minutes long. This one's like probably like 2 hours. I don't even know how long we're going now.
Oh, yeah, something like that.
It's long, but it's a great film, one that we've watched a lot, and Batman is Cinema 3D's official favorite character.
Oh, yeah.
So we had to spend a while talking about this one. We hope you guys enjoyed this review. Please let us know what you think of Batman 89. Does it hold up? Answer that Joker prompt for me, because I want to get some discussion on this.
Yeah.
And let us know what your favorite Batman movie is. And we will see you guys next time.